It's now 2025, and I absolutely cannot have a year like last year. 2024 was possibly one of the worst years of my life that I've experienced, at least in a long time, for as long as I can remember, like recent memory for my finances. It was terrible for various reasons. Some I will take full responsibility for, while others, it's basically just been Bidenomics. And this is not without me making things political, it's just the truth of the situation. Let me give you some backstory. I work as a body technician, so I take cars that have been in collisions and I restore them to the way they were when they came off the factory floor. This involves filling dents, repairing bumpers, swapping bumpers, moving over parts, everything else in between, the whole 9 yards. I've even can do reconstructive heavy frame damage as well, and some of that includes welding. Without getting too far into what I do for work, I really didn't expect last year to smack me so hard as it did. We experienced a slowdown right around the beginning of Q2 for last year. And while I was told that this was not normal, this was an unceremonious slowdown, things would improve in the summer. They didn't. Things got worse. As a flat rate employee, someone who gets paid by only what they produce, things got very bad. There were weeks where I was only getting between 6 and 15 hours of assigned work to me as a body technician. Now, maybe mechanics seen something different in the economy. I'm in the middle of America, but this was really bad. And I am so sick and tired of just losing. I don't know how any of you feel, but I personally am just sick and tired of losing. I came out of corporate America, moving into more of a blue collar industry because I was told that blue collar is going to be the future. America needs blue collar workers. All for the same problems that I was facing in the white collar area to follow me to the blue collar. I'm happier doing work with my hands. I enjoy what I do. I really like working on cars, but not when it doesn't pay the bills. At the beginning of last year, I had 2 jobs. Coming into the ending of the following year, so the end of 2023 into 2024, I had 2 jobs. And then basically all of my bills were paid for with the second job, and a lot of the money that I was making at my first job, since I was an apprentice at the time, I was pretty much able to hang on to. But by the fall of 2024, anything that I had savings-wise was wiped out. It was completely gone. There was nothing left. I was scrounging on whatever I could get at that point, which, just doing the basic math off the top of my head and trying to remember what those paychecks were like, I mean, it was really bad. $250, $300 a week. And this is supposed to be the middle of America where things are supposed to be affordable. And I'm so sick and tired of the lies. I'm sick and tired of lies. Our rent is high as it's ever been. The grocery price is completely unaffordable. You can forget going out to eat. Gas was almost $5 a gallon. Here in the Midwest, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is not something that we deserve. I don't know whether to blame it on the politics of the country, like the direction the country was heading in, and maybe hoping that things will be better off here with a new administration, but that just doesn't seem like that's the case. I really feel like everything that you want to accomplish in your life, likewise for me, this is a message even to myself, is 100% on you. There's no one coming to save you. There was no one coming to save me. And for many of us, that future that we thought that we would have, maybe we envision our life to be in a different situation or a better situation, that's completely up to you to grab and take hold of for yourself. You can't even rely on a job anymore. You can't rely on people to keep their word. It's 100% on you. And while I was working 2 jobs, sometimes 3, working 16, 17, 18-hour days, working 6 days a week, I'm divorced and I have partial custody of my daughter, joint custody, where I have her 3 to 4 days a week. And even still, it's just, and I still pay child support. Like, it's really funny how things all work out after everything's said and done. So I guess maybe, I don't really even know what the point of this video is. It's just maybe to set a reminder for myself that this year, this 2025 for me, is not going to be like 2024. I absolutely can't survive another 2024. Maybe somewhere out there will see this and they can relate. But if I have to go through another 2024, I won't make it out the other end. There's no possible way. Because, okay, let's see if I can clear the slate here. I want to talk about finance on this channel. I want to talk about finance that's actually reachable for people. You know, how you can order your life for success without losing sight of where most of us start. And most of us start where I'm at, way at the bottom. And maybe before I was too proud to share this information, or maybe I thought I just had to get everything lined up and right before I began to put it out there for other people to see. But now I'm kind of the mindset where I think that it'll be more beneficial for people to see just how bad it was while I move up and while I make my way to the next stages, whatever that is for me. As of 2025, now, we're just getting started, the hours have improved, but that's not because the economy's improved. That's because of outside forces moving people around where I work, and people, you know, there's less mouths to feed, so there's more work to spread around to those who are remaining, those who are stupid enough or resilient enough to stay. But there should be absolutely no way in the world that someone should be able to wake up every single day, go to work, put in your 40 plus hours, in my case, 40, 50, 60 hours, and not have enough to feed yourself or pay your rent. Wasn't that the deal? Isn't that what we agreed to? It's like, hey, listen, if you get up and at least go to work, you can at least be able to pay for some crappy 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom place at the absolute, you know, best 2 bedrooms. You can maybe eat out to McDonald's once a week. You could, you know, maybe afford to buy that video game you like so much. I don't know what the deal was, but whatever it was supposed to be, that's gone. And that's been gone for a long time. And it took me so long because I was blinded by just outworking it. You know, what the older generation says, it tells us to all pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Well, guess what? What happens if you can't pull yourself up because you don't have shoelaces? It's really easy for those who've never had to face it as bad as we have to sit on top of the mountain and tell us how to climb it, when they were just helly dropped in. The wages that we have now, they don't pay for anything. You can't afford to live on anything. And I'm not going out on a limb here. 2024 was the first year in, I mean, not counting my marriage, but almost 10 years. 10 years that I had a roommate. So I finally had a roommate again, and things didn't get better. They got worse. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. Things are supposed to be better. It got worse. So my 2025 absolutely cannot be like 2024. And for many of you who are in the same boat as me, you understand exactly what that feels like. You can't have it the exact same way. 2024 was a brutal year. I'm honestly glad it's over. So moving forward, maybe I'll try to give you guys a little bit of hope here. There are opportunities out there. There are ways, if you're willing to really grind it out and you're smart about how you do it, where you can make it. And there are a lot of people who can make it on very little. You know, I don't need a lot to be happy. I'm not a very big materialistic person. I don't need new clothes, and I don't have to go out to eat all the time. And I don't have these other habits that are just going to be big, not only money wasters, but time wasters. I pretty much just work a lot. I mean, I like to write, but that doesn't cost very much of anything. Aside from the cost of internet, which, what happened to the cost of internet? My internet bill doubled last year. I mean, all the utilities doubled. Practically. And yeah, you're probably thinking that's because you have a roommate. No, that's not what I mean. I expected, okay, let's say the bill was, when it was me and just my daughter, the bill was $90 a month. Okay, you would expect that then the bill with another person, another fully working grown adult in the house, to be $180. But no, the bill wasn't $180. The bill is now reaching the heights of $250 a month for electricity, whereas it was $90 before. It doesn't make sense. Please make it make sense. How is anyone supposed to do anything and live on anything here in this country? How are you supposed to make it when every single time I turn around, there's a fee for having a fee, or a fee for being late, or, oh, you didn't have the money? No problem. We'll hit you with this fee on top of the fact that you didn't have money. Or let's say you, God forbid, have something disconnected. Then they hit you with a reconnection fee. It's like, okay, I couldn't afford to pay it before, but now I have this $70 fee on top of the bill. Thanks. You just absolutely made it impossible for someone to be able to pay this bill. And while there are some of us out here that are winning and who don't have any issues keeping the lights on, it's very difficult when you're trying to go down a career path that is just choking the life out of you. I love what I do. I love working on these cars. It's been a great time, but I actually need to be compensated for being here and doing what I'm supposed to do. And it shouldn't be my fault that there's no cars coming in. Why do I have to suffer? Because there's not enough work coming in. I'm just going to get back to my employer, I bet. That's fine. My gripes and complaints aren't secret. This is what everyone else feels. This is real. I love my job. I like what I do. It's been great when there's work to do. And outside of that, I'm trying to even see if the math is mathing here. If I had full paychecks every time, would things be better? Marginally. It would marginally be better. But I would still likely be very, very broke. Maybe let's serve a warning to some people here who are still listening, even though this is a very small channel. Save your money. Don't convince yourself that you deserve something because you worked long enough. That's a silly mindset to have. To think that, okay, I'm going to go do this thing, or I deserve to, let's use going out to eat as an example. I'm going to go out to eat because I deserve it. Or I'm going to buy Starbucks every day because I wake up in the morning and I go to work, so I deserve it. That's a really bad mindset to put yourself in, because it doesn't stop. You do the next thing because you deserve that too. And you can't continue to live by rewarding yourself for things that you should do. I hope that makes sense. That's just a really bad mindset to get into, because it's a cycle that won't stop. You know, feeding the dopamine monster in our brains by purchasing something is not very smart. So I try to stay away from it. Maybe you can get some value out of that. Don't chase that dopamine. Instead, you should chase things that are going to be a lot more permanent. And so for 2025, something I'm chasing that's going to be a lot more permanent. It's not just an additional source of income, but I'm trying to set myself up for a future in having income that's going to last. And it's just one thing that's been on my mind consistently is not just the time value of money, but just how little utility I get out of spending it. right? Aside from the needs, aside from Maslow's hierarchy of needs, shelter, food, etc. Aside from those things, the very basic essentials, when I go to buy myself, let's say I wanted to buy, I don't know, a pair of AirPods, I just don't feel like that money went far enough for what I got out of it. Is anyone else feeling the same way? Where you go buy something, I don't know, whatever it is that you like. Maybe it's video games, maybe it's books, maybe you pay subscriptions. You just don't feel like you're getting your money's worth, because we're quite literally trading our time, like literally our life force, if you will. We're trading our time for money to then spend that money on useless things that never feel like, I really got my money's worth out of that. I don't feel that way. I'm just trying to recount all the things I spent money on, which like 80 or 90% of everything I made in 2024 went just to bills. And I'm like, what did I get out of any of this? Aside from the basics, like those things shouldn't cost that much. It's required. Why is the cost of living, just living, going up so much? Obviously, this is not news to us, but when you go back and really think about it, it's hectic and it's crazy. So now that I've moved on to the next level in my apprenticeship and I'm no longer considered, a journeyman, whatever, it doesn't matter. Point being is I've moved up, and with that comes a bonus. So I got my first check of the year. Great. It's supposed to be a bonus. Half the money was absolutely consumed by taxes. We could probably talk a little bit more about that later, but why is it that we're taxed to death on top of everything being so expensive? Right? I mean, maybe I'm confused. Why weren't we prepared for this properly? And I'm not some young guy. This has been happening for a while, but I just really feel the need to put it out there. Maybe I'll resonate with somebody, and somebody can at least help explain it to me, that why are we taxed so much? And it didn't hurt particularly bad until you need the money, right? Until you really need it just to pay a bill or whatever. I swear bill collectors are debtors, or whoever I owe money to, wherever it's the first time I've had bill collectors call me in a long time too. It's been great. I love it. Oh, I love it so much. But when you're late on a bill and they start calling you to remind you that your payment is due, they swear I have the money in my account and I'm just sitting on it and I'm just waiting for my opportunity to pay it. No, I don't have the money. I'm living paycheck to paycheck now. And I haven't had to do that for a long, long time. Working harder than ever before to get nothing in return, while there are people who do nothing, sitting around, making more money than ever before. And these are not the people who I'm talking about who add value to the economy. I'm mostly talking about people in bureaucratic positions that add nothing of value, and yet they make these big paychecks. I don't understand it. And so then they tax all of us. Imagine you're waiting for a bonus that you've worked for, tested for, got certifications for, and you need that money. And they go and they take half of it, because Ukraine needs money. Israel and Palestine, they need money. What are we paying for? And what are we getting out of it? It's probably time for you guys to wake up and realize that none of these people are on our side. They don't want to see us win. I was thinking about that before too. I thought to myself, I said, if they would just realize, and if I would realize, so if we all realize our true potential and earned your way up to making more money, then essentially the government would get more money out of you because they can tax you at a higher tax bracket, right? They won't even let me get there. They tax me so much, I can't even get there because I'm just treading water and drowning in the game of life just to pay for the basics at this point. And I really tried to make sure that I had a marketable, valuable skill to bring. And that's what everyone on YouTube was saying. Hey, just make sure you have a marketable skill that's in demand and you will have money. People crash their cars all the time. I liked it. I was inspired by a few other YouTubers to start doing this. I work for a garage. It's a legitimate company, a big nationwide company. It's not like I should have a lack of work, but that's what's been happening. I have this high value, marketable skill that I've spent at this point thousands of hours cultivating to get better at my craft, to get faster and more efficient at my craft, and I'm still struggling. So now I'm looking in the mirror, and for 2025, something has to change, but not out there, because they're not going to change. They don't care what I have to go through, okay? It's going to have to change with me. I'm going to have to do more on my side in order to compensate for it. We all have to do this. This is not a pull yourself up by the bootstraps moment because I bought my house for some pocket lint and a paperclip. No, that's not what I'm saying. This is an opportunity for us to realize just how many different things are out there for you to tap into to be able to set yourself up for the future. And if you take that and you spend it on whatever the thing is that catches your fancy for the moment, I'm letting you know right now you're going to regret it, because we're in for a world of pain here financially for 2025. It's not going to get better. Just because we have a new administration coming in doesn't mean that things are going to instantaneously change. All the stuff that's been happening up to this point is going to continue to happen. The machine wants you to lose. They want to keep you down. They want to keep you downtrodden. They want you to be a vagabond. They want you to be a wagey, okay? They want you to be someone who just pays their tax, eats the crickets, goes to sleep, to wake up and do it all over again. You have to realize they do not want what's best for you and for our children and for so on and so forth. It's been happening for a long time. And just because our grandparents didn't have it as bad doesn't mean that they weren't trying to do it then either. Keep your head up. This year is going to be better. This is a message to not only you out there, but this is a message to me for me to look back on. I'm at least hoping that this will serve as kind of a journal of sorts, a video journal where I can go back and see where I was so that I can see how far I came over time. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Even if no one sees this, I'll see it. And maybe one day my daughter will see it.